So in this video, I'm going to be exposing whether Dan Pena is legitimate or not. And very few people know him. Very few people know the insides of the whole model and who he is and his credibility. And I don't think there is a lot out there online that people know about, and the information is kind of scattered. So if you don't know who I am, I went to his Castle seminar in 2019 December. And also I went to his second seminar, which is Quantum Leap Advantage Hardcore. And I did not just went to these seminars, I also executed the steps. So I have a very full overview of what he's about, what the model is, what does he teach, and what are the results of the people there. Because I happen to interact with a lot of people who went to the seminar, and these are the insiders. These are the people who closely are associated with him and understand what he teaches. So we're going to be getting into that, and I'm going to be talking fact-based. This is a fact-based conversation. This is not my opinion. Some of it is going to be my opinion, but I'm just stating the facts, and you make up your mind what you want to believe. So first of all, let's talk about the castle. So he lives in a castle and he has a fleet of cars. On the cars, on the number plates, you have his name written on it. You can't do that unless you own the cars. So he owns those cars. The other thing is the castle. It's not that he owns that castle after, now he has become famous in the seminar world, that he has taken this castle. He has actually been living in that castle since he is 40 years old. And he took his company public at the age of 38 or 39. And for the 40th birthday, he bought this castle. So he not only accomplished this goal of buying a castle, which was his dream, he has been living there since last 30 years old. And this is pre-internet, where things were very slow. You were doing business through telephones. There were no Zoom calls. You had to travel. You had to manage the employees by being on the ground. And at that time, in 7 years' time, he took $820 and turned it into a $450 million empire. How did he do that? He did it in the oil and gas industry. And he acquired several companies and became this big, created this massive company, and that company went public. He took it public, and he went public the same day as Jaguar, and the company name was Great Western Resources, and that company had a better stock price than Jaguar. A higher stock price. So just that alone should establish who he is and his credibility. And this is not right now. This is when he's 40 years old, 30 years ago. And somewhere around, maybe when he was 50, he started the seminar business, or maybe in his 60s. I'm not sure exactly when he started off. But he has been coaching and mentoring for a long time. And suddenly he went viral lately in a couple of years. But he has been around a long time, and he has mentored a lot of people. One of the persons that he mentored, his name is Klaus Kleinfeld. He was the former CEO of Siemens. Siemens is one of the mammoth companies, and he's the CEO of that. And this man came to Dan Pena's seminar before he became the CEO of Siemens. And this man executed one of the largest deals in recorded history with the Saudi government. It was a $500 billion transaction, one transaction. And that deal was concluded where he convinced the Saudi government to invest, not just Saudi, Qatar government and a couple of other governments, to invest into the creation of this new city, NEOM. And that deal alone is worth $500 to now $750 million. So he calls himself $1 trillion man. It's because he's not saying that he is worth $1 trillion. It's the deal value. It's the total deal value that he has been exposed directly and indirectly through his mentees who met him, who saw his material, who took action on that material and produced that result. Doesn't mean that his mentees are worth personally $1 trillion. That doesn't mean that he's worth $1 trillion. He never said that. And he even clarified that he's not a billionaire. So I've seen a lot of posts saying that, fake billionaire, this, that, but he never claimed to be a billionaire. He says, I'm the $50 billion man. That's what he used to say. That means that that's the deal exposure. That's the total volume of deals. That's not the net worth of his mentees. That's the portfolio size or deal size. I know a couple of people who did some government contracts that were worth $1 billion. Does that mean they became billionaires after they did those contracts? No, because that contract may have a small commission for them. But the deal value is still $1 billion and it's still a big deal. I recently met someone who was working on $1 billion project, government project in Africa. And I'm not going to tell you his name, but he hasn't even been to the castle. And he wanted me to advise him on the government contracts. And I said, I don't do that. But so that is also an example of someone who listens to Dan Pena, who got exposed to the material and is doing, government contract. So what happens at the seminar? What is the QLA methodology about? It's a model to create wealth through buying businesses. It's exactly what he did with oil and gas. And he now says, you have a much better industry where you can do this. And he talks about healthcare. Why healthcare? Because it has $11 trillion. It's an $11 trillion economy, I think. 11 or $12 trillion, you can look it up. Global economy is around that. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that people are spending a lot of money in healthcare. So his advice is to position yourself where people are already spending money and start a business there, rather than choosing an industry which is high risk, like Hollywood or restaurants, for example, or airlines. You choose an industry that's booming. So very sound advice. And instead of creating revenue from scratch, you buy businesses. It's easier to buy a business than to create one from scratch. How do you buy a business when you don't have the money? You borrow money from the bank and you structure the deal in a way that the cash flow from the business can pay off the loan, and you can acquire an asset and another one, just like a real estate mortgage. And these companies, and the minimum deal value in the model, he recommends go for $1 million deal, $500,000 to $1 million. That's just one deal. And many of his mentees are involved in several transactions. So you could make big numbers by acquiring a lot of businesses, because you are buying $1 million deal, a $2 million business, a $5 million business, $10 million business. Someone from my class of 2019 December has closed a $25 million deal in about 18 to 20 months. This is after the lockdown, after everything. And he did it in an industry he had no experience in. And he owns that company. I know another person from my hardcore seminar who has a portfolio of $30 million. I know someone else through someone, this is from a different class, who has a $12 million portfolio. And he doesn't even now, he built that portfolio, he did 4-5 transactions, and then now he's doing something else and he has this portfolio. He will get that money when he exits. And Dan Pena doesn't even talk about this guy who has a portfolio of $12 million. And he doesn't even talk about the guy who has a portfolio of $30 million. And this guy is from Canada, and the $25 million deal guy is also from Canada. And so it's pretty remarkable, the results of the seminar, but you need to understand that not everybody who goes to the seminar executes. If you look at my brother, he did the QLA seminar and the QLA hardcore. He got the information, he knows what to do, but he decided not to go for it. And he is doing something else now. And if I wasn't his brother, he would not have known if the model works or not, because the only way to find out is to execute. And I'm going to talk about a couple of more case studies. Let's take me for an example. Within 12 days of leaving the seminar, I managed to structure a partnership with a $3.5 billion CEO. This is 12 days from the seminar. And I used the exact strategy, the exact words, the exact system that he told me to follow. And I did not doubt him because I saw the result and I executed it and it worked. And a lot of the people in my class were not executing. We had a call, in fact, together, and we asked who's executing. Very few people were executing it. But the ones who were executing, you bet they were getting results. And then I found another high-profile executive. I structured a partnership with them, and another one. Soon enough, I found myself in a position where I have a whole range of executives that I'm in connection with. I had like 12, 15 people, and then I narrowed it down to 7 people. These are my business partners. Some of the top guys in finance, accounting, operations, these have led, been in $100 million companies. They have experience in, billion-dollar deals. And I just found myself in this position, in a couple of months' time. And I'm 29 years old. And I come from India, and I had no contacts in Dubai. And another fellow of mine who was in the seminar with me, he is in a business partnership with the Senator of Netherlands. And I met the Senator of Netherlands through him, and he did not know him before the seminar. And this is the same guy who met a prime minister or a president of a country, of a small country. But nonetheless, he met him at an investment summit, and he was discussing, he wants to revolutionize, he has a water bottle concept, a recyclable material water bottle, a concept that he was discussing with the government, the prime minister of this country. He has people on his board who has been around Joe Biden, and I have got people on my board that have been in rooms with Obama, very directly. And one of the person in my board, Richard Branson, came to his house and he showed me the photograph. And he's getting kids, people of my age, young men. He's giving the ability to do such feats. And it's not just one or two person. I just named so many of the people that I know personally. There are so many others who are doing it. Just a couple of days ago, I was approached by a lady. She wanted me to mentor him, and Dan Pena was on his board. And this lady has a high-profile team, and she just left the seminar a couple of months ago, and he just put together a very high-profile, partnership structure that puts her in an extremely powerful position in her country. And now she's looking at getting law firms, accounting firms, banks, and businesses. So the results are all over the place. He did not just buy the castle. He had the castle for a long time. He's been doing this 25 years. It's a very straightforward model. There is no, Ponzi scheme or anything. It's about buying businesses that are already established in healthcare sector, clinics, dental clinics, cosmetic clinics, home care companies, assisted living centers, like healthcare ecosystem. And the owners of these businesses are old, and you go in and you agree on a purchase price, you finance it from the bank, and the loan gets paid and you acquire the company. Now there are risks, there are operational risks, there are financial risks, there are legal risks, there are reputational risks, and you have this experienced board that shows you how to operate and manage these risks and avoid these risks and protect yourself and make the company successful. And still something can happen, and you will have to manage the situation. Yes, those things are almost always there, but you're putting yourself in an extremely powerful position to succeed. You're choosing an industry that's booming, healthcare. You're choosing a business model that's based on buying a business, not creating one from scratch. So from day one, you're cash flowing. You have an experienced team that protects you from various risks. And you have a system that has worked on many, many people. So to sum it up, he's an extremely credible man, and the results speak for it himself. The results speak for itself. His and his mentees' results. And I get this question a lot because I've been to the castle and there is a lot of things, a lot of people saying a lot of things. So I thought I'll clear the air. Very few people actually know him, actually been to the castle and paid that money of 20,000 pounds to be in that room. And even a fewer people who went to the castle actually go out and execute. So it's just like the same thing. People who go and sign up for a gym doesn't mean that all of them end up creating a dream physique that they wanted, because there is a price to pay. And how far do you push yourself? And it's not easy. The things that I did, that I managed to do, it came at a cost. The relationship with my brother was affected. The relationship with my mother has been affected. And I had to let go of all my friends who I cared for, who I loved, because I was busy. I had to execute. The relationship with my girlfriend suffered, who I was dating for a couple of years. I went through a lot of pain, a lot of sleepless nights, complications. But that's the life of a high performer. And not just me, people that I'm in touch with, we speak from time to time who went to the seminar. When I say time to time, once a year or twice a year, they have gone through similar things. They've gone through a lot of pain, even financial risk, to be able to put themselves in a position to do this. And very few people are cut out to do it. And very few people actually do something about it. And that's the case in any business. That's the case in any area of life. Look at Olympics. There are such a few people who make it, even in the competition, and even fewer make it to the gold, because just the prize is just too high. The sacrifice is too big. But there are people who want to do it. And those who want to do it and looking for the information, it works. I've seen it work on myself. I've seen it work in front of me on a lot of people. So I want to say he's absolutely legitimate, and his system works, and it has worked for me, and I highly endorse it. And if you like the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you soon.